completed my internship. How did I meet my mentor? I met her through connections. A former student here at CUCA, Abby, who was also like a little mini mentor for me during school, or during the internship. I met my mentor, Dina Capizzi, through Abby. She was her mentor as well. For my hours, I did 522. Most of them were my E hours because I had a job at St. Mary's School for the Deaf, so you're allowed to count that as your E hours. My AP hours consisted of doing various classes and trainings at St. Mary's. Every Wednesday there was an EARS program. It was an oral program in a deaf school, and they were preparing the kids to go to mainstream, but there was a deaf mother that needed to be interpreted for. I also did medical appointments. For my C hours, I watched legal, medical, training, classes. I'd go to church every Sunday in a religious setting. And my E hours, I also ordered a book called Multiple Meanings in American Sign Language. And it made you think outside the box instead of just interpreting the sentence, and made you think of how you do it from different concepts. Also, I would interpret a video off of the internet, and then I would watch it again with the sound off, and I'd try to voice myself to see if it matched the message that I was trying to portray. Strengthening my ties to the deaf community. I go to church every Sunday that was signed. I go to the deaf events in my area. Working at St. Mary's School for the Deaf helped, meeting different deaf adults. And I was hired at Deaf Access Services, so I met various interpreters through there. That's the bottom picture of the interpreters. The hardest lessons to learn was to disconnect myself in school settings. Since I worked at St. Mary's, it was hard to interpret sometimes to disconnect myself. The one time the student just kept signing job and not answering the question, and I went out of my interpreting role, and I was like, make a full sentence. And I couldn't do that. I should have just voiced, hey, you just keep signing job. And I didn't. To trust myself, even though you think you did bad, you probably did a decent job. The best memories was working at St. Mary's. The kids, we would just learn from each other. I would teach them, and they would teach me. It was just a wonderful experience. The discoveries was I needed to breathe more. When I was getting nervous, I just take a deep breath. Don't focus on the words, focus on the concepts. When you think you did awful, you probably did a good job. And it was okay to make mistakes because you could still use the excuse that you were a student. And I actually got that from a deaf person because I was like, oh, you have any feedback? And he's like, you're still a student, you're doing great. And I go, okay. Advice for next year's class is to relax, breathe, and trust yourself. Always practice. Work on those classifiers and objectives. Oh, and lag time. Don't be on top of it. And get out in the deaf community as much as you can, because that's where you'll learn and grow the most. That's it. Thanks, guys.